Wer ist er? Achso, das ist der andere Typ.
What your last thoughts would be just came here in the first place.
B. Hawkins. So, Ausgang, okay. Ja, jetzt Sean Hampton.
It's locked. Good evening,
Mr.
Mr.
Hampton.
How do you feel?
Dr. Reed, is it? Oh, sir, I must apologize for my behavior.
What do you mean?
I was not myself in the factory. Fear and exhaustion made me say awful things to you, I'm afraid.
You remained perfectly nice and polite. A little delirious, perhaps. But who wouldn't be after enduring an abduction?
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief. Now all I need to do is rest and return to my flock.
Wir waren in William Bishops Versteck.
How did you end up in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior. I went to his place and he refused to let me go.
Warum hat er sie entführt?
Why did he abduct you?
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood. I don't know why. Just like a patient I met here. This Miss Hawcroft.
Okay.
You dared to enter this awful place alone. You're a hero, Mr. Hampton. Or a fool.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reed. William Bishop was a conflicted soul, searching for light.
Okay.
Do you know Tom Watts, the bartender from the Turtle? I met him before I found you in the canning factory.
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand, good old Tom. Without men like him, corruption and despair would have wiped out the East End long ago.
Okay.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authorities have left us all to rot in this contagious nightmare. No drugs, no advice, nothing. It's a damn shame.
Okay.
Who should I avoid in this part of town, then? Any particularly evil figures?
Not really. Most men and women are just doing their best. And it's not my habit to speak ill of people I know, Doctor.
Okay.
What is the general situation in the East End docks?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot of tensions between the gangs and the Dockers Trade Union. The Wet Boot Boys are very nervous since they lost their leader.
Wer führt die Gang jetzt an?
Who leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show, with the assistance of her minion, Booth Digby.
Clay Cox war der Anführer.
Has the gang been threatening you?
Clay Cox nicht der unten?
I've had this nickname for so long, you know, the sad saint of the East End. No one dares to bug a saint, not even criminals.
Was macht sie beruflich?
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton? I can't help but notice the cross around your neck.
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks, and I try to guide the lost and hesitant on the right path to our Lord.
Are you a priest, Mr. Hampton? A deacon, maybe?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach the good word.
Okay. Das Kreuz gegen William Bishop einsetzen.
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow?
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is no magical token, if that's what you were trying to say. Not mine, anyway.
Oh, okay.
Have you made friends since you arrived?
Not really, but I recognize Miss Harriet Jones. I knew her when she lived by the docks. That poor woman had such a miserable life.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke? Receiving visits when sick can be an important part of the healing process, you know. We're not just bodies.
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor. To be truly honest, I thought she was dead. She left the docks many months ago.
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton? Medically speaking, I mean.
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion, actually. William drank so much of my blood in his madness. I feel empty.
You're in good hands here. Dr. Swansea is well versed in blood transfusion, and I'm sure he'll take the best care of you.
Thank you, sir.
Aber wir sind doch der
I
Profi
believe all I
dafür.
need is rest. And then I could go back to the people who need me.
Okay, dann haben wir ja auch alles
Goodbye,
durch.
Mr. Hampton. We'll talk again later.
Adios.
A giant morgue disguised as a hospital. That's Pembroke nowadays.
Warte mal, war hier auf der Seite, war hier nicht auch noch irgendwas, was wir einsammeln konnten?
And what of my own life?
Ah, meine ich doch. Über den Gebrauch von Knoblauch und Holzfehlen. Geschätzte Bürger, ich will eure Aufmerksamkeit auf einen sehr wichtigen Punkt lenken. Den Gebrauch von Knoblauch zur Abwehr von Vampiren. Seien wir diesbezüglich ganz deutlich. Knoblauch wird uns niemals gegen diese Kreaturen beschützen. Es ist egal, wie frisch, stark oder stinkend er ist. Knoblauch ist als Verteidigung völlig nutzlos. Ich kann nicht genug betonen, wie schädlich dieser Roman von Bram Stoker war. Und ja, natürlich lege ich die Bevölkerung in slawischen Ländern Knoblauchzehen in die Särge. Ja, die Bewohner der Insel Santorin in Knoblauch in die Fenster. Es gäbe so viel über diesen Ort zu berichten und ich werde hoffentlich bald zurückkehren und die okkulten Bräuche dort erforschen. Doch macht man dies nicht, um die Lebenden vor dem Teufel zu bewahren. Die Toten sollen sich ihrer Botschaft bewusst werden. Es ist ein Zeichen, nicht mehr und nicht weniger. Darum ja, inbrünstig ja. Fragt, zeigt und hängt Knoblauch auf und zeigt den Schatten, dass sie keine Furcht kennt. Doch wenn ihr nach übernatürlichen Schutz sucht, so müsst ihr viel tiefer in den vergessenen Geheimnissen der okkulten Bräuche suchen. Hier liegt die Wahrheit, meine Brüder. Knoblauch vertreibt Vampire nicht, aber alle frischen Pflanzen verletzen sie. Es ist, als könnten ihre Körper die Berührung mit botanischen Elementen nicht verkraften. Ich habe gesehen, wie ein wilder Wulpe davonlief, als man ihn mit einer Rose schlug. Einer einfachen Rose. Ich habe ein gewalttätigen Ekon zu Boden gehen und um Gnade flehen sehen, als man ihn mit einem Holzpfeil traf. Ich weiß nicht, wieso es so effektiv ist, und ich würde meinen linken Arm hergeben, um die Antwort auf dieses Rätsel zu finden. Aber es bleibt trotzdem eine Tatsache, dass Vampire sehr empfindlich auf frische Kräuter, Pflanzen und Hölzer reagieren. Aus Im Angesicht des Schatten, wie und warum von Asher Teltree, Primas von St. Paulus. Okay, das sind immer Auszüge aus Büchern, ne? Würde ich sagen. Spannend. Naja. Okay. So, wir gehen jetzt mal in die Richtung. Dorothy Crane. Damit, das war die Dame von vorne. Mit der haben wir schon gesprochen. Die Kranke hier, ey. Wer bist du?
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. May I help you?
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see. Would you mind telling me more about your situation?
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Okay. Erzählen Sie mir doch mal von sich.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Fiddick.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed, so I can return to work and to my family.
I was more curious about what you were doing before being hospitalized.
I'm a carpenter, and a good one too. But that means I need both arms to feed my family, Dr. Reed.
Okay. Erörterten Ihren Fall.
Tell me about the doctors who are arguing about your case.
Strickland and Aykroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from carpenters, it seems.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is I disagreed about wooden nails, not flesh and bones.
Okay.
Are you satisfied with your treatment here?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured. Forgive my bluntness, but you seem overwhelmed by cases of the flu.
I won't lie to you about it. I'm afraid we are.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed? I have the feeling you're very capable, and your colleagues seem to think so too.
In other circumstances, you would be right. But for now, I don't think I can take on the responsibility. My apologies.
Okay, aber das kann ich verstehen, dass er das nicht machen möchte.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
You always knew the words to calm the children, Ellen. As for me, I'm so tired of wondering, idiot. Will this shift never end?
Good evening, Doctor. I believe we're going to be working together.
Dr. Reed. Dr. Swansea informed us of your arrival, but I could not dare to believe we'd have such good fortune. Such an honor, sir.
Thank you. And you are?
I am Thoreau Strickland, Dr. Thoreau Strickland. I'm a great admirer of your work, Dr. Reed.
Wir leben in London. Erzählen Sie mal von sich.
Please, could you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion, Dr. Reed. I run my own experiments. I'm convinced it's the future.
Warum sind Sie Arzt geworden?
What made you choose to be a doctor?
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your side.
Helfe Ihnen gern. Praktische Arbeit ist auslaugend.
It's always a pleasure to share scientific and medical knowledge with someone eager to learn. I'll be glad to help you if I can.
This epidemic may be the century's most terrible disaster, but I'm convinced that we, as doctors, are the only ones able to defeat it.
Erzählen Sie mir von Ihren Experimenten.
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method. What is yours?
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach. My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful.
As long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail.
You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
Wir gucken mal ganz kurz. Thoreaus Bluttransfusionsexperimente waren bisher ohne Erfolg. Okay. Nicht so geil, ne? Nicht so geil.
What can you tell me about the Pembroke?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea. But with your arrival, I can't think of a better opportunity to learn about blood transfusion.
Wir wirken ziemlich optimistisch.
You seem quite optimistic. It's a rare and precious attitude in these difficult times.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test of endurance and dedication for us men of science.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation.
True, true. Last summer, during the first wave of the epidemic, I used to joke with Milton about the extra work. We're not smiling now.
Kann ich verstehen.
Do you need help with anything in particular?
Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a batch of products I ordered for my personal research, yet my supplier seems to have vanished.
Do you want me to play the errand boy for you?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his shop, what with your reputation and all, he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need.
I see. Well, give me the address, for I may pass by if I have time.
Also sind wir doch der Laufbursche. Die
Tell me
Bluttransfusionsmethode.
more about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him, or to prove your point?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
Okay.
Tell me Mr. Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial information from us?
Because he is a proud father. Ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
Okay.
This personal involvement could also appear to be a lack of impartiality. You must know that a good surgeon must remain neutral.
I agree. But that does not excuse Dr. Aykroyd's behavior. A man who did not even take time to converse with his patient.
Do you think keeping his distance was a mistake?
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings with desires, hopes, and fears. Not some biological machine comprised of blood, bones, and flesh.
Hat recht.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
Oh, warte mal, obwohl...
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed. Can I be of any help?
Hier, okay, da ist einfach noch Hinweis benötigt. Okay.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
You always knew the words to calm the children, Helen. As for me.
Wir sollten direkt einmal mit ihm reden. Ob
Good
er
evening,
gelogen
Mr.
hat.
Fiddick.
Good evening, Doctor.
Und einmal gucken, Harvey macht sich selbst für seine Verletzung verantwortlich, okay?
Reed, any news about my operation?
Weshalb die Schuldgefühle wegen ihrer Verletzung?
Tell me about your injury, Harvey. Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself. What an arsehole.
Oh. Harveys Frau starb während des Krieges. Okay. Haben sie sich mutwillig verletzt? Ist ihre Frau ihretwegen gestorben?
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick. Unless you tried to hurt yourself.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. But I can't work until my arm is fixed. My children need to eat, Doctor.
How could your job be responsible for your wife's death?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915. I was in the army, building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps. Helen was happy I wasn't sent to the front.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings. I served in France and witnessed the carnage there.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is, I have no idea. I just know that I'm all that me kids have. Poor little bleeders.
Wie geht es denn den Kindern?
How
Was
are
für
your
Geschichte, ey.
children after losing their mother?
They were smaller then. The only good thing about this is my Helen didn't bring them with her that night.
Na, das glaube ich gern.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
Sweet girl.
Haben wir noch jemanden Unbekannten?
Thelma Howcroft said she was being watched by vampire hunters. Where are they hiding? I should investigate.
Ihre Stadt braucht sie. Jedes Leben, das durch effiziente medizinische Hilfe gerettet wird, ist ein Stich ins Herz der Epidemie. Freiwillige machen den Unterschied. Melden Sie sich beim nächsten Regierungsbüro des Ministeriums für Arbeit und Wehrdienst oder schreiben Sie an 15 Kingways, London.
It's locked.
I hope that might help.
It's locked, all right.
Ah,
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed.
ich
Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir.
der Bild der
Especially
Indiamann.
when he was supposedly dead.
A colleague. Are you a doctor too?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Chadana. Now, I'm just Mr. Chadana, pawnbroker and humble guardian of this morgue.
What do you mean, you used to be a doctor? Was your license revoked?
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise. I run a little pawn shop while taking care of the dead. But I used to be a real doctor.
Organhandel? Keine Angst vor den Toten?
Are you afraid or uneasy being surrounded by so many corpses?
Why should I? These bodies are empty vessels. Flesh left to decay. Poof. No soul anymore. All gone.
Die meisten fürchten sich vor totem Fleisch.
An interesting point of view. And quite an exotic one too. Most people fear or at least have a respect for dead flesh.
Sir, as a medic during the war, I learned to face my death and the death of others. It's the pain we have to tame, not death itself.
Okay. Rakesh hat seit seiner Arbeit als Sanitäter keine Angst vor dem Tod. Okay. Wie haben Sie diese Arbeit bekommen?
How did you get this job?
After I left the army, I worked as an undertaker down by the docks. A dangerous place with many an unpleasant business there. Milton Hooks helped me get a job here.
Er war der Undertaker. Sind wir uns schon mal begegnet?
Have we met before?
I don't think so, sir. Why?
When we first talked, you said you were glad to meet me since I was reported dead.
Funny story, sir. Your sister came here a few nights ago. You were missing, and she was looking for your body. She must be very relieved now.
Okay.
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir. All I have to do is watch a few bodies. The situation was very different when the main morgue was still open.
Warum auf diese Leichen aufpassen?
Why do you have to watch these bodies?
Because these poor fellows have no names. We keep them in case someone comes looking for the missing. Sadly, very rarely happens.
Why close the hospital's main morgue?
It was for sanitary reasons after the beginning of the epidemic. Cadavers had to be moved to the nearest mass grave.
Sie sind Pfandleiher?
A pawn
Aber
broker.
wofür?
I expect you get all types of people here.
Yes, sir. All kind of people. For I sell all kind of goods.
Okay. Er kommt hierher, um Geschäfte zu
Who
machen.
comes
Organhandel.
here to trade with you? It's very unhygienic, even unsafe. Diseases can spread. For the customers, for the hospital.
I'm very cautious, sir. I've been a doctor, remember? And all my clients are good people. In fact, I think I only know good people.
Ah ja.
What kind of goods?
With the quarantine, it's not always easy to buy things. So I trade, I exchange. Some people sell, some others buy. I like to help.
Okay, dann handeln wir mal. Glauben Sie, obwohl wir fragen ihn erstmal, ob er an ein Leben nach dem Tod glaubt.
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh?
No, I believe we must do all the good we can while alive. for our time is short and the obstacles are endless.
Do you think you would enjoy immortality as a concept?
I don't think so. Don't mistake me. I love life and I'd like to live a long life. But everything has to decay, sir. Even goodwill.
Wohlwollen ist nicht von Dauer. Und,
Do you really believe goodwill cannot last?
As I said, sir, everything decays. If I was to never die, goodness, I would be bored or worse. And I like to be helpful, sir.
Quite depressing, wouldn't you say?
Yes, but the good news is we'll all die before losing our humanity, sir.
So you're ready to die?
No, I am not. I don't fear death, for I won't see it. What troubles me is the pain my death will inflict to those I know.
You're a wise man, Mr. Chidana.
No, Dr. Reed. I am a foolish man. But I like to think otherwise.
okay. Würde gern mal mit ihm handeln.
Please show me what you have to sell.
Of course. It's just trinkets and curios, really. But I'm sure they can be useful.
Okay. Protein, Opium, eine rätselhafte Formel. Ja, gut. Plunder. Wir haben noch irgendwo Plunder. Plunder. Die Uhr, die verkaufen wir. Und die Flasche mit Alkohol auch. Aluminiumpulver, Proben und Inhaltsstoffe. Glasfiole. Schmiermittel. Okay, das behalten wir alles mal. Das haben wir eben gerade verkauft. Eine rätselhafte Formel. Diese auf ein Stück Papier geschriebene Formel scheint komplex zu sein. Sie muss analysiert werden. Okay. Hau rein. Krankenschwestern werden jetzt gebraucht. Im Namen der Barmherzigkeit, Sie verlassen sich auf sie. Krankenschwestern werden jetzt gebraucht. Melden Sie sich beim nächsten Arbeit und Wehrdienst. So, das war abgerissen dann, okay. Oh. Eine Menge Toter. Klauen wir erstmal die Toten hier, kein Problem. Zerknitterter Brief. Ja, wo ist denn dieser Brief jetzt? Da. Meine Liebste, ich konnte endlich das Geld für die Gebühr auftreiben, die der Krankenwagenfahrer dafür verlangt hat, dich ins Krankenhaus zu bringen. Bitte mach dir keine Sorgen und werde einfach gesund. Ich habe mich um alles gekümmert. Ich habe einige unserer Nachbarn gefragt. Ihnen zufolge ist dieser Mr. Hooks eine Art ehrlicher Gauner. Er mag zusätzliches Geld für ein Bett verlangen, aber das bekommt man auch. bekommt man dann auch. Bitte entschuldige, dass ich zunächst nicht zahlen wollte. Deine Genesung steht an erster Stelle. Das ist mir nun bewusst. Offenbar genießt das Pembroke Hospital einen guten Ruf, trotz des schlechten Benehmens dieses Milton Hooks. Ich verspreche dir, dass nun alles in Ordnung kommt. Ich komme dich schnellstmöglich an deinem sauberen Bett besuchen. In tiefster Liebe, Nicolai. Okay. Milton beutete einige der Patienten des Pembroke aus. Okay. Ich glaube, wir sollten nochmal mit ihm reden. Da ist noch jemand unbekannt.
Good evening, sir.
Okay, hier sind zwei Leute, die wir noch nicht kennen. Fangen wir mit ihm an.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Can I help at all?
No,
Really?
No.
Why are you here then?
I don't want to talk. My throat hurts too much.
I suppose
Oh.
that this pain is the reason you're here. Is someone taking care of you?
Yes. And no.
Could you at least tell me your name, sir?
Mortimer. Mortimer Goswick.
Okay. Gut, ihre Kehle. Was für eine Frage hat er doch gerade gesagt?
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
I'm sure you realize a doctor and his patient have to communicate, sir. Would it help if I gave you some paper and a pen?
Not really.
I see. Then maybe it's not just your throat that hurts, Mr. Goswick. Perhaps your sore throat is just the consequence of something more hurtful.
Yes, maybe. But I don't want to talk or even write about it now.
Dass er nicht reden möchte, verstehe ich gar nicht. Gut, Erik, vor allem diese Frage, ne? Aber die hat er auch gerade beantwortet.
How painful is your throat, Mr.
So painful.
I'll let you get some rest.
Komisch.
Good evening, sir.
Aber ich war noch gar nicht
Good
fertig mit
evening,
ihm.
Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
Erzählen Sie mir von sich.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Goswick.
I don't want to talk, Doctor.
Okay.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
I'm all right. Don't waste your time with me.
Good evening, madam. Can I help you?
It's my son who needs you, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. How can I help your son?
I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of Mortimer Goswick. Could you check on him, please, Dr. Reed? I've heard much of your talents as a physician.
Hey.
What can you tell me about yourself, Mrs. Goswick?
Not much to say. Just take care of my Mortimer and I'll cover all the expenses. That's all that matters.
Sind Sie so reich?
Are you really that rich? Most of the patients here are of a more humble origin, if I may say so.
Yes, thanks to my husband. May he rest in peace. I can cover any needed medical expenses.
Okay. Erzählen Sie mir doch mal, womit Sie so Ihre Zeit
May
verbringen.
I ask if you have an occupation, Mrs. Goswick?
I'm a teacher by profession. I teach young women who are more ambitious about their futures than their families.
Okay. Fühlen Sie sich hier gut beraten?
What do you think of your reception here? Any complaints?
I have had the uttermost reservations about this hospital since we arrived, but we had no other choice, considering the state of emergency.
Is there something in particular that's bothering you?
Some of the staff were not especially welcoming. I suspect they're not accustomed to dealing with patients of such social standing.
Das kann natürlich sein. Aber erzählen Sie mir doch mal von der Ankunft.
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a bad first impression?
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it wasn't cheap.
Okay. Hawkins, ne? Pippa reserviert gegen finanziellen Ausgleich Betten für Patienten. Aber wo haben wir denn? Da ist er. Okay, da haben wir die beiden ja auch schon, ne?
She charged you for a bed?
Yes, and I paid without question, considering the urgency of the situation.
Okay.
I share your concern, Mrs. Goswick. Be sure that I'll talk to the people involved.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed. But I'm aware such behavior would not be tolerated in other hospitals.
Ja, ich glaube auch. Okay, da können wir nichts fragen. Dann gehen wir
Goodbye,
mal.
Mrs. Goswick.